So last past weeks, I've been working upon some UI fixes as well as updating some backend features. Like I remember Peter saying that we need to update the profile section. It was not intuitive. We used to do this from here. I've updated to change this profile section from here. That is, we can update any. They will be done from here as itself, and same is has been done for the user portal as well. We can update it. I think it's not rest.
Okay. Aman, please stop here. I have a comment.
Yeah.
So now what happens is that we have two deletes on the screen, and this could
Okay.
cause confusion. And the update also has a clash with the save changes as well.
Okay.
From the end user perspective. So I'm wondering whether it wouldn't be better for just for the image to be like what many of these other apps have, where if there's no image that's been uploaded, you just have a blank, just like what you had before. And then when you click on the image, then that gives you the option to update it with something new. And then that way you don't have to worry about this update and delete thing that causes more confusion for the end user.
Yeah, we did discuss this with Ashima about this, but the thing was, it is also not that intuitive that the end user won't be able to say how to update it. Let's say if even this update button is not present there, so I think it will be difficult for the end user to know how to update this profile unless and until he eventually hovers over the image.
Well, exactly. So hold on. So if they hover over it, then you could have a mouse over that says click to update or something, because that's what I think that's what's done on websites like LinkedIn, for example. They don't on your profile. There's no update button for your profile picture. You just click on it and then up.
Yeah.
Same thing with WhatsApp. You click on your profile and then it pops up with the image, the option to update it. So there is precedent doing it the way that I'm suggesting. And I understand why you wanted to do it that particular way, but many users nowadays understand that workflow. And so maybe a few years ago, that would be something that most people would think would be suitable. But I think now we can safely assume that people would do it the way that I'm suggesting.
Okay, I understood your requirement. I'll change it to click on the image and we could update it from there.
Yeah, as much as possible, we need to have like as few buttons and things to cause confusion. And I'll give you an example. I remember looking over the shoulder of somebody using Gmail, and I told them they were looking for an email, and I told them that they could search for the email by using the search bar at the top. And instead of using the Gmail search bar at the top of the screen for Gmail, they went into the Chrome browser and typed the search term, and were confused when there was a Google result rather than the mail result. And that was just because there are two different search bars in the web page. And so, based on that experience, I keep thinking to myself, how can we find ways in which we can limit choice to make it a more user-friendly experience? Because that person in that case thought that Gmail was horrible, even though it's a very useful tool, and it was only when I had to show them how it's done, and they looked at me and said, well, that's not intuitive. I said, well, I guess not, but it's very difficult in a situation like that to have an alternative methodology of doing search. But I keep thinking about it, and I recognize where you're coming from, and I respect where you're coming from. But I think in this particular case, people understand what to expect for this sort of workflow, and it'd be better if we limited choice a little bit more. Okay.
Yeah, I agree with you that we should limit the buttons as it might create a confusion like save and update. So I'll undo the required changes for this. Then another thing, yeah,
And also when you updated the image, there was another delete, and so now you have the delete user and the delete as
delete.
well, and that could
Yeah,
cause additional confusion. Okay.
yeah, okay, I got it. Then again, I've made changes to community settings where we can change our logo for this. If I can show you, let me log out. This is the logo that we are using,
So,
and let's update it. So, oh,
okay.
I think that's, yeah.
And similarly with that, we could do the same thing as well.
Uh, Here
Right?
we are not using any
No,
other buttons.
hang on. But where you have the logo and you say choose file,
Okay.
if we're going to have consistency, we should try and have consistency with what we did with the profile picture.
Okay. You're suggesting that we should just display the
Yeah,
logo and similar to what you suggested, we could
yeah,
just hover and update.
right.
Okay.
I'm sh- I'm sure there are ways in which we could add text around it so that people know what to do. Because if you just have the
We could
logo image without any little text, then it may cause a problem.
we could have this placeholder as well as we could show a tooltip when hovering over the logo.
Okay. Yeah, just take a look at what other people have done. There are many cases in which they've done this sort of work in terms of the UI UX. And I think that would be useful. All right, thank you.
Then there is also one more thing. I've implemented the backup and restore for both MongoDB and MinIO. Uh, so if I have to say, right now these three are backed up. Let's say I'm deleting one of them. So basically what I did was I deleted the backup files which was present, and you could see the images are still loading because the MinIO data is still present. The files that has been uploaded are still present.
Okay.
I can show you here all the images are and videos are present here, and let me delete the whole directory where these data are present. We don't have any backups,
Okay.
but we could see last we could see all the images are present here. Let's create a backup for MongoDB. Sorry, for MinIO.
Okay.
So a backup has been created. This is here, and let's delete this data directory which contains all the MinIO data. Delete it. Now if I refresh, you could see there are no images here.
Right.
No images are here. And let's now restore this. It has been restored, and let's check if it has been restored or not. Yeah, we can see that it has been restored. Even the posts,
And
everything has been.
And where are the
Yeah.
backups stored? In the same data directory, like a
No,
subdirectory? Okay.
it's stored in some another directory called backup. Right now, I'm storing it in same root directory of the project. But I was thinking about letting the user decide the place where he wants to keep the backup.
Right.
So that is something I was thinking about and was wanted to ask about the mentor as well.
Yeah, I think, we should probably give them the option to back it up in another location, possibly stored in the .env file.
Okay.
The other thing is, if we have, I know that, and the same thing with the data, it would be good to also have the option for them to select another directory in the .env file for the data storage.
Okay.
Because people may not want to have the application running in a particular directory. They may want to have like a API front end, for example. I'm sorry, we want to have the API and the data storage servers on two different machines, for example. And therefore, it would be good for us to have that option. The other thing that I'm thinking about is we have data and we have backup. And I'm wondering whether there's a way in which we could do it such that it's in a hidden file or a hidden directory, so that it'd be less likely for people to do dumb things. At least if it's say for example the default could be, for example, dot backup or dot data, right? Dot backup or dot data, but they could store it in some other location that doesn't necessarily be a dot backup or a dot data. It could be whatever name they select. Just for just for security, not so much for security, just for to reduce the risk of people doing something silly or unexpected. So talk with your mentor about that, and I'm assuming that you have those directories in the git ignore file, right?
Yeah, it has. They are
Okay.
placing it in the file.
All right.
Also, I'm still implementing the schedule portion. It has been completed in the backend, but it still needs to be integrated in the front end. Also, we
Okay.
could make a backup for MongoDB database as well.
Okay.
Uh,
All right. And could you go back to the security page, please? I
yeah.
noticed when you scroll down, there's a encryption section.
Yeah, this is for encryption for files that user will uploading, like all the post files, all the images that a user can upload. If the super admin enables encryption for this, all the files will be stored as encrypted files. Since we will be hosting this in a local environment for the end user, so if so that a particular user who has access to the system is not able to open the images or videos that has been uploaded by the end user. For that,
Okay.
we have enable encryption. It is still in progress, but
Okay. All right. So that's another key of some of the encryption key thing is going to have to be placed in the .env file as well.
yeah,
Based
right.
on that. Okay. Good. That people are going to ask for that feature eventually, so it's good that you've thought about it. Okay.
So that's it for now. I've implemented the backup restore and some changes in the uploads.
All right. So I'm sure that MongoDB already has a backup feature. Are we doing something that is redundant because of this?
We could have MongoDB does allow a feature for backing up the file. We are using the same MongoDB commands to back it up, but I don't think we are assuming that the end user has to use the terminal and use any tool like Compass to take a backup of it.
Yeah.
So enabling also when we will be restoring and backing up the Menayo data. So all the files that has been deleted or say restored, for that corresponding file, I think there will be a case when a file is not present but a data has been there in the MongoDB. So for that, we could restore MongoDB data to that specific point as well if the backup exists.
All right. Now I'm thinking about this from the administrator perspective.
Okay.
If I were an administrator, for example, if I were the head of a community center and I want to back up my data, if I'm given the option of only MongoDB or only MinIO, I don't think I'd know what to do, or which one to do. And I'm wondering whether it just makes sense to say, have one button that says backup, right? That says backup, like one
we
button,
do have that.
right? Have one button that says backup, and you back up both MongoDB and MinIO. Just makes it easier.
Yeah, we do have that option. But for flexibility, I thought we could also provide MongoDB and MinIO as well.
Oh, I agree that flexibility is something that would be required or desirable, and that works from like a DevOps perspective. But I think most people that are going to be using this application are going to be non-technical people.
Yeah.
And so therefore, if we just give them the option of click this button to do backup, and behind the scenes you're doing both MongoDB and MinIO, that makes it a lot easier from the user perspective, because right now you're giving them a choice. And that automatically means that they will now start to go on forums to say which is which, why do I have to do this one versus that one, all of these things, versus I backed it up and I restored it.
Okay, I got your point. I think to not cause any confusion, we should have a single update.
Make it as simple as possible. As simple as possible. All right. And then I'm just thinking about this. All right, I see. So you have an instant backup. Right. I'm wondering whether we should have a way of making this more obvious that it's a instant backup versus a scheduled backup.
We could maybe provide a model which takes the inputs for frequency and backup time, and we could just have instant backup here. And when the user clicks on the schedule backup, we could provide an option to add the time and frequency and then schedule it from there.
Yeah. There could be a way to do this where they don't have two buttons. Or work with your mentor on this to try and see how we can make it less likely for people to make mistakes. I think people like us who are in the industry won't make mistakes, but people who are not in the industry might make mistakes. So think this through a little bit more. This may or may not be the right way to do it, but give it a little more thought, work with your mentor on this, and let's see how we can come up with something that is better, whether or not something better could exist or not. Right? But just give it a little more investigation, okay?
Okay, I'll research on it and connect with
Thank you. Yeah, because I'm sure there are other backup options in other applications that may have something that's that's intuitive and that you could use and say. Use it as an example. All right. But this is a welcome feature. I never thought about backups, and now that you've had it, I said, how did we not think of backups? So I'm glad that we have it as an option now. So thanks for thinking about this.